Hey, if you struggle with a ton of knee pain, but you still want to, strength train and still try and develop your legs, then this video is for you. So to give you some idea of where I'm coming from, I've personally had 4 knee reconstructions. Yes, 4. I've had one on my left and 3 on my right. This is thanks to my football career. Nothing to do with injuries in the gym. My left knee now is Mickey Mouse. Had that surgery almost 10 years ago. No, in fact, yeah, 10 years ago. And my right knee, I'm still having constant problems, hence the 3 operations. And still to this very day, still having problems. So I want to just share some helpful tips that I've found just experimenting myself. We're still trying to practice strength training whilst having a ton of knee pain. So let's get into it. The very first one I want to teach you is if you still want to do more knee dominant exercises to try and build up your quads. For example, squatting, lunging, right? These are typically knee dominant exercises. You want to, itchy nose, you want to do exercises that allow you to get more into your hips, okay? For example, if you still want to squat, you want to do more like a low bar back squat that allows you to get more into your hips, and a box squat, once again, allows you to get more into your hips. Front squatting, probably not. Okay, so front squatting allow your knees to really go far over the toes. Now, there is nothing wrong with that. Okay, there is nothing wrong with the knees going over the toes. If you've got healthy knees, continue to do that and won't destroy your knees. There's nothing wrong with it. If you just watch Olympic level lifters from the side doing front squats with a ridiculous amount of weight, and they've got like their knees 3, 4, 5 inches over the toes, and again, no problems whatsoever. But when you already have a knee injury, then something like a front squat where the knee really allows to go over the toes, yeah, it's not great. I can sort of front squat pain free, but I really feel it the next couple of days. So for me, risk versus reward, it's just not worth it. So I personally don't front squat anymore, despite front squatting being a fantastic exercise for the quads. So again, I simply choose exercises, still target the quads, but it just allowed me to get more into my hips. Box squats and low bar back squats. I find even high bar back squats work because, again, it allows you to be more upright and allows more knee over toe. I really struggle with it over the next few days after high bar squatting. For lunges, exercises that allow you to get more lean. So if you lean forward more with your upper body when you perform like a reverse lunge or step ups or anything like that, that allows you to get more into your hips, okay? And therefore it'll take more stress off the knee, play a little bit more on the glute. And the other thing too is just simply doesn't close that gap where the hamstring meets the calf a lot. It allows to keep the knee a little bit more open. I find it's just a lot more easier for the knee. Again, this is from personal experience. That's just tip number 1. Try and do, even when you're doing quad dominant exercise like squats and lunges, try and get more into your hips. Okay, first tip. Tip number 2, exercise order. Now, if you're not injured, programming 101 is you start with the big bang exercises first because that's where you can use the most amount of weight and where you're at your freshest and you can really focus on getting really strong. But I won't go into but yet. But yeah, so start with the big bang exercise, and as you go through your workout, you start moving towards the smaller exercise. For example, like you can go say like squat, that's a big bang exercise. Then you want to go into something like a leg press, that's a little bit smaller exercise, a little bit more isolation. And then you can go into like say a leg curl, and then you can finish off with like say calves or glutes, like depending on what your goal is for that period of time. However, when you've got something shot like a knee, I find if you flip it, if you do the opposite, works fantastic. So, for example, if you go, I'll use today's what I did today actually, perfect example. So I did a seated abduction and adduction machine, which targets I supersetted them together, targets the adductors and the glutes. Then I went on to leg extension and leg curl. Again, another smaller exercise. And then I finished off with the bigger exercise, which today for me was just simply leg press and hip thrust. I supersetted them together. Now again, if I wasn't injured, I'd actually do the opposite. Right? I would start with the leg press or start with the squat, and hip thrust, then I go to the leg curl and the leg extension, then finish off with the adductors and the glutes, right? But again, by doing it the other way around, by starting with the small stuff, finish with the big stuff, two things why this works. One is it allows you to just get super warm before you even hit the really big bang exercise. And two, it doesn't allow you to use a lot of weight, right? Because if you start with, let's say, back squats at the beginning of your workout, you might be able to do, say, 100 kilos. But then if you do it at the end of your workout, once you've gone through all your other stuff, you're going to be obviously a lot more fatigued. Your strength's going to be a little bit more zapped. So you may only be able to do 70 or 80 kilos. So I found that to be really helpful, is to start with the small stuff, actually finish with the big stuff. Again, if you're not injured, then you wouldn't do that at all. You'd always want to start with the big stuff, finish with the small stuff. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3. What was tip number? 1 1/4 reps. Fantastic. Love this. So for any knee dominant stuff, once again, squatting, lunging, I find instead of just doing normal reps where you simply go all the way down, all the way up, I find incorporating 1 1/4 reps are fantastic. So 1 1/4 reps using a squat, for example, is you go all the way down, up a quarter, back down, all the way up, and that is 1 rep. And you can do that with leg press, you can do it with lunging. So for lunging, you go all the way down, up a quarter, back down, all the way up. And 1 1/4 reps work great for any exercise. But when you've got like a knee problem, I find it on the knee dominant exercise where they can be a little bit doing 1 1/4 reps are fantastic. One, you just can't do all the weight, right? If you were to do just normal reps on squats, you might be able to do, again, 100 kilos, but if you do 1 1/4 reps on squats, maybe only 70 or 80 kilos. So allows you to lower the weight. 2, just places a ton of tension on the muscle, which I've also found is that the more lean muscle mass you have for the joint, for example, if we're talking about the knee, so building up your VMO, which is that little teardrop muscle next to your knee on the inside of your knee, building up your quad, these things can be really helpful with not pretending, but stabilizing the knee. So they're just 3 things that I found super helpful myself. Again, just experimenting with knee pain. So I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed making it for you. Look, if you've got a ton of knee pain and you want some help with getting a better program, so, unfortunately, YouTube and Google and Instagram programs aren't great when you've got injury stuff, nor do the people who write those programs know how to work around injuries, especially when it comes to the knee. If you need some help, reach out to me, send me a PM, because I've been doing this for the last 10 years now, working around trying to get stronger whilst having a ton of knee pain. So yeah, if you need some help with your programming stuff, just send me a PM, be happy to see if I can help. Apart from that, once again, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you soon.